The following is presented by the Cheeky Bastards.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
Do you find it hard to focus at work? Do you find that you spend most of your time daydreaming about nonsensical situations? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you find that you spend most of the night lying awake masturbating as you fixate on trying to answer a series of absolutely pointless yet provocative hypothetical questions? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then it is quite possible that you suffer from funk, the fear of not knowing. Hi, I'm the notorious Scott Gay, host of such obscure podcasts as Watch Us Die, The Cheeky Bastards, Dropped A Deuce, and The Church of Tarantino. And I know what you're fucking thinking. No, I'm not a medically trained doctor. But as a minimally successful podcaster, I believe I have the cure for your funk. Like you, I too lied awake and I wondered whom from The Office I'd like to kill, or whom from It's a Bug's Life I'd marry. And don't even get me started on the countless sleepless nights I've had pondering whom I'd smash the fucking shit out of from Goodfellas. And I won't even waste your fucking time with the stress it caused me trying to figure out whom I'd eat from the Michael Bay masterpiece, Armageddon. But fear not, my friends, because starting September 4th, I'll be hosting a weekly podcast that will finally help you answer the questions that have left you unfulfilled and impotent in your everyday lives. Together with a special guest, we will finally get you the solutions to the hypothetical questions that you've been mulling over for far too long. We will finally help you solve which of your favorite fictional characters you will kill, marry, smash, and eat. Together, we will finally cure you of your funk, or at least help you waste about an hour of your day once a week. So join me in September on the Kill, Marry, Smash, Eat podcast, and let the healing begin.
Come out to the coast, we'll get together, have a few laughs.
Yippee Ki-Yay motherfuckers, and welcome to the 18th edition of Dropping A Bruce, the monthly podcast where we watch every single one of Bruce Willis's 40 direct-to-video releases from his acting career. See if he took the role for a paycheck and dropped a deuce, or if in fact he took the role and gave it his all and dropped a Bruce. I am the notorious Scott K.
And from the sunny United Kingdom, this is a slightly sozzled Mr. Smith.
And together, we will be your hapless stewards on this 40-month journey through the lesser-known movies of Mr. Bruce Willis's filmography. This month's stop finds us being face-fucked by the ghosts of our own sanity as we review 2020's action thriller, Hard Kill. The final stop on the summer of a Scandry mentally challenged train ride. All aboard for the final stop. We started with Trauma Center. We gratefully moved along in July to survive the night, which we were able to, and then we moved into Hard Kill. I was neither hard, but I do feel like I want to kill. So
I hear that.
So as we record, it's really the beginning of summer. We're 2 days into summer, but as our listeners, our faithful listeners listen, we have reached the halfway point of season 2. A third of which we spent with Matt Escondry, much to our chagrin.
Yes.
You know, we spent the whole summer with this cocksucker. And you know what? We're about to, the second half of the season, a third of it is going to be something I'm really excited about, which is we're going to, 1, reach the halfway point in 2 episodes. We're halfway through.
That's quite an achievement.
It is.
That's an achievement in itself.
We actually might have a very special guest on for that episode that I'm just now telling you about as we record.
What?
Which I'll let you know later.
Who you could possibly mean.
And we're going to have 3 of the last 6 films of this season be Bruce dipping his toe into science fiction. One of those films might star your favorite man crush, Thomas motherfucking Jane.
You might have a challenger after this movie.
I have an idea what you're talking about. I know what you mean here. Now,
Maybe.
Hey, look, we did it. We had no idea we were having a summer of Escondry. Kind of fell in our laps.
Not to skip too far ahead, but would you agree with me that perhaps this could be the best of Escondry?
Ooh.
I'd hate to put you on the spot this early.
Yes, like best looking film, maybe. Yeah, like maybe.
Yeah, no, I was literally just thinking about that.
Maybe.
We'll get to that anyway. But I will
say 2 episodes. When we started, what we didn't know was going to be the mentally challenged train ride of the summer. known as the Escondry Express. It was anything but an express. Even though, he did find a way to make some of these 90-minute movies feel like 2 hours. I did complain because I was listening to the episode back about, where's our Bernhards? Maybe, I'm not saying we found a Bernhardt in that respect, but I think we found somebody who definitely stepped up to the plate. Definitely, one guy was definitely fucking acting this film, and most of the rest were just happy to be here.
Well, I think he was just making up for everyone else.
That's true. That's true.
He knew
When
what
there's
was
a lack
going
of
down.
acting, anybody acting at this point.
I think he was extremely professional in a way where he could foresee what was going down and decided to step up more than any actor has probably ever stepped up.
Well, then, before we play Army Men with some limp dick local theater troupe, it's time for our...
What you talking about, Willis?
Just the facts, man. Just the facts.
This film was released in 2020, written by Joe Russo and Chris Lamont, and directed by Matt Escondri. Starring Jesse Metcalf, Bruce Willis, Natalie Eva Marie, Lala Kent, Texas Beth, Sven Tillman, Sergio Risolto, John Galanis, and Tyler John Olsen, with a running time of 98 minutes. Made on a budget of $10 million and grossing $112,000 at the box office. It holds a 3.1 rating on IMDb, with a 0 critics and 59 audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. The work of a billionaire tech CEO is so valuable that he hires mercenaries to protect it after a terrorist group kidnaps his daughter in an attempt to steal it. Emmett Furlow Oasis Films and Vertical Entertainment presents Hard Kill.
Derek Miller, read up on you. Impressive stuff.
Just doing my duty.
Spoken like a true soldier.
I'm sure you recognize your old friend, the partner. How could I forget? Put a bullet in my back. She's been raising hell all over the globe for the past 2 years. Hold on. Last week, partner stole a piece of technology.
This is how we change the world.
I need you and your team on this one.
Hey. We do it my way.
No questions asked. I'm in.
All right, we got your back. Not loving the spot, boss.
Martin, he's coming here.
If you want to survive, we're going to have to work together.
Derek Miller. Just remember, we have all the manpower and all the leverage.
Dad!
He's using my daughter to get to me. You got kids, Miller? Just go get my little girl. Let's do this. Hoorah! Come out, wherever you are. Hoorah!
You truly do not know when to quit.
Hey, get down! I got your back, soldier.
Mr. Bruce Willis plays Donovan Chalmers, a former Army Ranger turned tech billionaire, because that's how things happen in the military. You can just come right out of being an Army Ranger, killing people. Next thing you know, I'm a tech billionaire. Boom. His daughter has created an AI system that will buck fuck humanity if it falls into the wrong hands, as all these things always do. Does anybody ever create anything that doesn't butt fuck humanity if it falls in the wrong hands? Are there no safety features on anybody's stuff? Sorry, I'm ranting already. Old man shakes fist at sky.
There's a lot to rant about.
Now, this is our fourth of his 26 straight to DVD, VOD, STD releases that he will do over the next 5 years. This is his second straight to video release of 2020 and third in a row, but third of 4 films directed by Matt Ass Clown Escondri that we will be dealing with on this podcast. So one positive is we have gotten 3 out of the way. We've only got 1 more to look forward to. So, there's a shining star. Now, I know I've given you the tagline. I always give you the tagline in our rundown. But let's see if I can't break down what I think this plot was about. A ragtag group of former soldiers turned mercenaries is hired to protect a billionaire during a routine meeting. But it's a trick, and they've been duped into not only protecting him from some douchebag with a Bond villain name, but to retrieve his kidnapped daughter and his top secret AI project. But they're double-crossed by one of their own, and there's a lot of shooting and ridiculous action set moments that will not arouse you, but will make you want to kill this film's creators. How is that for a hard kill? Hardless
I think
kill. Less than hard kill. Barely aroused. Barely awoke kill.
Penile dysfunctional.
Kill.
Hell yeah. Well, you know, I mean, we're talking about, we're in familiar terrain here.
We are.
A plethora. What?
I feel a big word jingle coming on.
No, you can use the jingle again. You've got my permission.
Why are you talking like this? This is ridiculous. There's two groups of people who talk like this. The first group of people is people without an education, and they feel badly about it, right? They're hung up about their lack of education, and so they're making some kind of a really overt attempt here to be an intellectual. Well, I feel sorry for you if that's the case, and that's too bad, and you ought to, book a session with a psychologist and get over it. There's just no time to be playing this game. This is ridiculous.
A plethora of producers. 28 producers.
Was your former ex one of those producers? Because she wasn't in the film. I think maybe she's heard that.
No, she's not involved. I'm going to say now, I think this is a little bit of a step up.
Oh, okay.
I've got questions for you, though, if you don't mind me. If you don't mind me, I'm just going to drop a few hints right now. I've got questions, if I may say. You're an ex-military man.
Yes.
That's fair to say.
Yeah.
I've got paintball questions. I think you know what I'm talking about. We've got an Alec Baldwin syndrome situation.
Oh, yes, I do have that in my notes.
Yes,
I
we
will
do.
let you know.
And we've got, we're talking Project 725 Quantum AI. We've got so much to discuss in this short podcast. I don't really, quite frankly.
Well, how about this? I'll jump in with what I learned, and then we'll get into what we...
Let's go to it.
This movie was filmed in Cincinnati, making it the fourth Bruce Willis film, or STD as they're now known. The fourth Willis STD to be shot in the city. Mr. Willis was nominated for a Raspberry Award for Worst Supporting Actor for his role in this film.
Didn't win, though.
It was a big year for 2020, though, for him, because he was also nominated in the same category for Breach, which we will do next month, and Survive the Night, which we did last month. All three roles, once again, from 2020. Not a great year for Mr. Willis. This is the sixth film of the 18 we've seen to date that holds a 0 critics rating on Rotten Tomatoes. The others being The Prince, Precious Cargo, which he and I both disagree with that rating, Acts of Violence, Airstrike, and 10 Minutes Gone. Those so far. A third is not good. A third of the movies, 0 critics. Anyhow, this is one of 4 films that Lala Kent appears in with Bruce. The other 3 being Drama Center, 10 Minutes Gone, and soon to be seen Out for Death. So look forward to more Lala Kent. Now, according to the LA Times and Miss Kent, an incident occurred on set where Bruce accidentally fired a prop gun that was loaded with blanks on the wrong cue and repeated the error during a second take. Nobody was injured, but the situation left some crew members shaken. Now, I do believe we had mentioned this earlier in either end of season 1 or earlier this year that something like this happened. Well, this is that film. So clearly we are in aphasia really starting to peek through, which surprisingly, though, we're number 18. 22 more were made. I
don't know where this is going.
How did people, I guess I'm just stunned. Is it a lack of people paying attention to that something's wrong with Mr. Willis? Or is it more of a, I'm afraid to say something to the Willis camp that there might be something wrong with Mr. Willis? Or are certain people in his camp who may have, and again, this is just assumption. I have no real basis for this, but just assumptions based on these information. And there's some people in this camp who are maybe want some of the payday that's coming, so they're just gonna not mention it or say, hey, Bruce, how are you feeling? You know what I mean? That was a scary moment. Something's not right. Maybe we should just get something checked out, just to make sure. Even if you phrase it on the fact of like a concussion from it, you bullshit it just to get the person into some help.
I'm still got my suspicions that perhaps Bruce and these producer guys, I'm talking about, maybe just struck some deal. He may have told them guys what was going on, that he needed a retirement plan. He needed to take care of some fucking medical bills. Yeah. And maybe shitheels that they are, they didn't really clue anyone else in on it, which was probably a contract thing anyway. I mean, we know, but I'm just saying, these producers probably signed a massive deal with Bruce to say, look, we'll do these movies, you'll get this much money, you won't have to work too much. But Bruce probably said, or Bruce's team probably said, look, that's not just fucking, we can't, this information about the aphasia didn't come out then.
I mean, for another 2 years. Yeah, I mean, so.
Yeah, so
But there's clearly some signs. I mean, this isn't,
this is it. See, the signs are there, but what I'm saying is I think, like, the deal was, look, I'll do these movies, keep this shit under wraps, though, and we'll get through it. Because, we've got an end game.
Yeah.
So, I am out of the game pretty soon. So let's just make this money, make these movies. You'll do well, I'll do well. But we can't have this announced yet until
fair.
it was. So I'm just pulling this out of my arse. I don't know either. So but these guys are far from, these producer guys, they're not honourable. They got no dignity, have they?
Well, you teed me up for the next part because Lala Kent, a.k.a. Lauren Elise Birmingham, for those of you who don't know, rose to fame in Season 4 of Bravo's trashy reality series Vanderpump Rules here in America. I'm sure you can find this garbage over there as well. It's about a douchebag family who owns a restaurant in Hollywood where she worked. She met our dear friend and sex trafficker Randall Emmett in 2015 and began dating him while he was still married to his wife, Amber Childers. Those of you who don't remember her, she was the robot assassin from the movie Vice. The two were then engaged in 2018 when frat boy Fuckface started making appearances on the show. In 2021, the couple, who had a daughter together, called it quits after Rumple Foreskin repeatedly cheated on her. A year later, Chubby Two Pumps was accused of offering a woman film roles in exchange for sexual favors. Miss Kent filed for solo custody of their child, citing farts when he fucks is unfit to be a parent. Please feel free to use any of those names. I have dawned on him in that rant anytime you see fit because he is worthy of all of them, that fucking cocksucker. Once again, we will state that we would gladly, for charity, fight these two fucks from EFO any day of the fucking week. Any fucking day. No holds barred, bare knuckle, snatch type of fucking fight. We're going for it. Any day I will punch that flab around his fucking neck into his ass cheeks. So, anywho, speaking of ass cheeks, I've got two very funny reviews on Letterboxd for this film. The first, I've made a terrible mistake, and I realize that now. A quote from Lala Kent's character starts this off. If this didn't feature Bruce Willis, I think it was a failed student film. Heck, even with Bruce, I'm convinced it's a failed student film. It's a bummer to think that after 33 years, John McClane, half star. And my favorite comes from Matthew L. Brady. If you look at the poster and focus your attention to Bruce Willis's face, blankly staring off into the distance, and it looks like he's hiding a mouse in his mouth, which puts pressure around his face. Yeah, that's Bruce Willis's acting in this movie. Half star. So, two well-written reviews on Letterboxd. But to kind of chime in with what you'd said earlier, film definitely looks better than the first two. It definitely looks better in the first two. However, my first note with that was the opening gunfight has zero info. It's just a shootout to be a cool opening. And I felt like we're already into the territory of bullets only matter when they matter. Once again, I thought, fuck, here we go. Because it does open with a little bit of mysteriousness, I mean, better than the first two movies we saw.
Yeah.
I would agree. And then from there, we get the opening credits or whatever.
Very short credits this time.
Yes, but our star, Jesse, is it Jesse? Yes, Jesse Metcalf. He met a calf and they had Jesse. He wakes up from his alarm like the alarm clock was a vibrator up his ass. He jumps out of bed from, once again, we have another military-infused military guy with PTSD, praying, whatever.
I'd like to point out that he was laying in a position just so that we could see his perfectly designed tattoo.
Yes, but then he got up and he prayed so we could see the injury on his back that would come into play later in the film. He was shot in the back by our antagonist, the partner.
I fucking love that guy.
I love him too, but I was like, oh, here we go. We're playing in James Dickley Bonds over here. What the fuck?
I just love the way he was asleep, and he had his arm out of bed just so he could say, "Hey, check out my tattoo."
He jumps out of bed, and I think he's got a wife. Because we hear he's got away. She's sound asleep. Like she must be in a coma because he jumps out of bed. Like I said, like there's his alarm clock is one of those little bullets that women have, and he had it in his asshole, and that's what wakes him up. He jumped out of bed and then instantly starts praying, like he's in the Madonna, like a prayer video. What the fuck's going? He jumps out of bed and then listen. I'm a vet. I guess we should get cue on some things, listeners. I don't know if you know this. We all wake up from traumatic PTSD dreams. We pray to whatever God we do or don't believe in. And then, after we've eaten breakfast, we fucking clean weapons. I don't know if you know this, but we must clean a pistol. That's what
Well,
you know we're fucking serious.
I mean, like, I like to think that's what you do. Otherwise,
Yes,
you know,
always.
what have I been fucking believing my whole life?
I am always getting up cleaning a pistol.
Damn right.
So, just so you know, we are always cleaning weapons. If there's downtime, we're going to clean a weapon.
Hell yeah.
Have we just had good sex? You know what? If we're fucking you from behind, you may feel a towel on your back and a weapon being cleaned on it while we're just slow.
That's where I put my fucking ashtray over here.
Your ass is a tray for me to clean this weapon, all right? I'm going to fire this weapon. I'm going to clean this weapon, all right, honey? Oh, America. I'm scared. You're the one who's drunk, and I'm the one who's not, but I sound like I might be the one
I don't know.
who's
That's what
doing
I like
fucking
about you,
whippets over here. Fucking doing straight whippets.
You know, I'm drunk. I sound deviant. You're just a fucking deviant.
But then Jesse, fucking now that you know he's the hard. He's hard. I'm ready to kill.
Hey, calm down.
He's ready, all right? He goes, throws on a fucking flannel. He stands out on the street in some, like, maybe lower middle
like
class
that flannel
city.
stuff, but, you know.
But it's freezing us, so you can tell. I mean, the breath is not fake. I mean, they're freezing. The shoe was definitely cold. They were
Listen,
cold.
it is New York, remember?
Yes, New York City in Cincinnati. So he gets picked up in the most inauspicious vehicle you could pick a guy up in that neighborhood, a stretch fucking Cadillac. Like, all right, okay, we're no money spared for these scandries. We're getting fucking picks them up, and then listen.
Surely that would have cost. It would have cost them less money to shoot that scene in a room.
Yes, but listen, we have to know.
A little bit elaborate.
We have to know that this is a big deal. This is a big thing right now. I mean,
yeah, you got a point. You got a point.
I mean, we have to know. And how do you sell that to your viewers? Stretch fucking Cadillac.
Yeah.
Stretch caddy SUV limo picks him up. And then the genius writing of Joe Russo, once again.
Hey, Russo over
fucking Guinea over here, and Chris Omont. Their writing for Mr. Scandry is, hey, they don't know what wars are fought where because they got Bruce's character, who, of course, I love these movies where everyone knows, oh, you're that guy who did the thing. Oh, I know. No, you didn't know him.
I heard about it.
Anywho, he knows who Bruce's character is. And it's like, oh, you were in all these wars.
I heard about Bosnia.
He says, Bosnia, Mogadishu, Somalia. And I go, hey, fuckface, Mogadishu's the capital of Somalia. We clearly don't know what we're talking about. We're writing this, did we? You know, it's written during Wikipedia. I mean, you can at least Google this at this point. Like, you go, okay, what are the wars this guy this age would have been in? And he's like, hey, Mogadishu, what about Somalia? And the two guys were like, that's two, isn't there? Boom. He's got 2 credits. It's like, hey, fuckface.
Well, you know.
It's the same place. You cocksucker.
They didn't even know that.
But those of us who know, I was like, this
the soldiers
asshole.
didn't know either.
He should have known. If he knows this guy, he doesn't even know. Fucking no wonder you got shot in the back, you asshole. You don't fucking forget about when we. I know what you're talking about. Forget about when we get to talk about the lack of. There had to be. This is gonna sound terrible. I do apologize, but fuck it. There had to be at least a homeless vet on the street that could have gone on set and showed them proper tactics. Anything about this that was tactical. This looked like a bunch of fat white guys who play on the weekend paintball. Or they're big Call of Duty fans, because you could tell, because as I've always yelled at my son when he used to play, I'm like, why are you running at the enemy? You're playing a war game. No one runs at each other. Even back in the days when the British would line up, you at least line up and kneel. No one's running unless they had to charge of bayonets. These kids run into these games, which is why they'll all be killed if there is an actual war, because they'll run at each other thinking they're getting some kind of no-scope thing. But the level or the lack of actual awareness of tactical maneuvers and how you would even fight in close quarters or in a building, it's just all weekend paintball tactics. It's just, and like I said, bullets matter when bullets matter. Otherwise, I think isn't Jesse hiding behind like what's basically a card table and bullets and then like the fake VFX and hitting him like he'd be dead 7 times.
Well, I'm gonna strike that from my notes because I was gonna get to that later. But also, it's just I want to get to one of the many puzzling things. What's the deal? You know when they're holed up in the the
this
fucking
giant building
warehouse
that's got 300 entrances and no one knows any but 3?
That's the one. That's the one. Why is all that red powder exploding on the walls when they're shooting at the guys in the building?
I think they're trying to say they're hitting brick. I don't know. Maybe that's the red brick.
Well, no, that is the only conclusion I could draw, but it was just so fucking wrong-headed. Because I'm like, are they playing paintball? What's
Yes.
going on?
That, you know what? You know what that is that's probably supposed to be blood, and they didn't colorize the blood to make it look like blood. So it came. So when they dropped that VFX effect
they're not
on
hitting
it,
people. They're not hitting people though. That you know.
Well, then they very might have just used for their cheap VFX that they got. They may have used a blood explosion and just colorized it to try to make it look like brick. But it looks
honestly,
like blood.
guys,
Yeah,
when you watch this movie, which I'm sure none of you are going to fucking do, there's just this moment where the bad guys are shooting at when they shoot at the building and there's fucking bits of brick exploding everywhere, and that's meant to create mass sort of intensity and chaos. There's all this red powder exploding, and there's even a shot of the building in the aftermath of it. There's just all these like blotches of red, and I don't know what the red was there. I don't know. You think I'm rambling? I'm a little bit drunk, but this is serious because this does not make any sense to me.
No.
So I was just thinking, well, Scott's in the military. Scott was in the military. Maybe there's something. There's a lot of things I don't know. Okay, I admit to that. But
the problem is the writers didn't. They should have done the same because they don't know that Mogadishu, the capital of Somalia. Oopsie doos.
Yeah, I'm gonna level this. This is at the director's door. I'm not gonna shit on the writers for that. I'm gonna say the director should have said, what the fuck is with this red powder exploding everywhere? That's all I'm saying.
Basically, this film was written on the fact that someone knew someone in Cincinnati to be able to use this former warehouse or whatever it was used for. And they had a cool warehouse to film it. And like, what can we do to film in this warehouse? And they came up with a bunch of bullshit because none of what's going on makes any fucking sense at all. Bruce Willis's daughter, played by Lala Kent, she's all right. I mean, she's all right. I mean, she's just pretty, and that's it. I mean, that's about the only reason she got this role. She got this role because she fucked the producer. That's the only reason she's in this role.
Well, I'm not saying that's what she did. I'm not saying that's what she did.
But we're pretty sure she did.
But she did.
We're pretty sure that's what Project 725 was. All right.
But I mean, she's pretty vacant. Unlike
the partner.
Yeah, I mean, this guy.
He was really, really good. I'm not gonna lie. Like when I first heard the name, and look, the first scene with the movie with her,
over here,
with her bringing, I still don't know what she brought him.
Well, it looked like a Wi-Fi
was it a thumb drive?
It looked like a Wi-Fi router to me.
Okay, because when they show up though to the thing, they've got like a whole fucking system, like almost like they're gonna like Van Halen's going on tour with them. Like it's a whole soundstage like system they wheel in.
Yeah, it does look like an
I don't remember her dropping this off like this.
Yeah, it looks like an amp setup for like you say Van Halen or Metallica or something.
Just wait for them to come out, which would have really. I mean, listen, if that was Project 725, I'm in.
I'd have loved that shit.
But that didn't happen.
But no, Sergio Rizzuto, the bad guy, is
known as only the partner. We don't know his real name. You don't need to know his real name. All right, it's not your fucking business over here.
Awesome. This guy's the fucking best.
He is definitely on the short list for best actor non-Bruce Willis.
He is the Alan Rickman of this movie.
Yes, he is, but he's also the Christopher Maloney, no baloney, Mr. Tony of this fucking film as well. He's the only. I mean, Bruce is good. Forget the fact that he almost pulled an Alec Baldwin, and before Alec Baldwin almost
he was always ahead of the game. He's a trendsetter,
He was shooting at people. Bruce is actually. I actually enjoyed him in this role. I gotta admit, I thought he was he was subdued. He didn't try to do a Wild Willis. He really fit the role he was playing. I didn't get how much he was in. I'm gonna assume he was there a day, maybe two, right? Like, cause at best.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm gonna also perhaps shoot myself in the foot here, but I want to give a bit of a shout out.
Oh, here we go, shout out.
Jesse Metcalf. I like the guy.
Wasn't terrible. This is really starting to become a thesis for us that we're able to find. And this started for me for Nicolas Cage podcast, but going through.
Yeah, I hear.
When you've got someone who can act, and Jesse knows what bullshit movie this is. He knows that, but this is his shot at being an action star. His shot at doing it.
Yeah, can I just say, I was completely unfamiliar with the guy. I mean, I don't know if you've seen him.
I know he's done something else. He has never been like a main leading role guy here.
Right.
He's on one of those like TV shows, those like teenage TV shows or whatever. When you see him, you go, oh yeah, that's right. He's like gossip.
Josh Duhamel kind of vibe to him. Be the guy.
He's not.
But no, PG, I think at least in this one, Jesse Metcalf he's the lead, right?
Yes, he's definitely playing early.
But I think he gives it He goes for it though.
Yes, he does. He gives it his best. Like I said, he's not known as an action star. He was on Desperate Housewives, a TV show. He's been in a couple of things. Like I said, nothing great. He's in the Escape Plan 2. He's coming back. We got him twice. He's in a Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I noticed
sequel.
that. But
Fortress and Fortress Sniper Design. He was in Smallville for a while.
Well, he was in John Tucker Must Die, which was a kind of, I did kind of feel that he was pretty good, though. I kind of believed him. When he's kicking ass in this, I was with him. I was like, you know what?
Yeah. I agree. How about this? I actually think he would have been a better John McClane's son in Die Hard 5 than the guy we had.
Whoa, controversial yet.
Correct.
I can see it.
Yeah, because he has more of that look, right? And he has more of a John McClane makeup in the sense where he's not overly built. He doesn't look like he's some chiseled warrior. Like you could assume that, he probably did go to the military and probably was decent at this and that. And you could see that he's a serviceable person. He's more believable than, I forget the guy they got. He just didn't look like his son.
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah,
you're
I think
right.
he would have been a better one.
And also this guy plays, the girl who plays Sasha, Natalie Eva Marie. She's like the badass.
Yeah, she's the sniper.
I kind of liked her a bit.
Her acting is wooden
on the eye.
Her acting is wooden as a duck, and the guy who plays her brother, thank God he gets killed first. He is the worst actor in this fucking film. No, she was better than him, though.
Yes. She was a bit better than him, and I kind of.
But your Pepsi can that people can't see is better than him right now.
Yeah, I kind of. Well, when you got look, come on, when you got a chick badass, that's always.
I know, and she tries to play badass. Yeah,
she's okay. She was okay. But Jesse Metcalf, I'm all in on.
He was good. The partner was good, and even but obviously Bruce was decent in it too. They weren't terrible, but the ones who couldn't act, they stuck out like sore thumbs.
Yeah, they did drag it down somewhat.
You're forgetting about Texas Battle was there as well.
Yeah, that guy he needs to die in as many movies as possible.
Yes.
I'm not saying I want him dead in real life.
He got shot in the chest, and that was a pretty big shot, and he survived it by just holding his coat against his chest.
That's not what you do. That's not what you do? No? I'll take note.
Here's the funny thing, right? So he gets shot. Hey, put pressure on to hold the coat. The girl gets shot. All of a sudden, Jesse Metcalf finds a conveniently located, like it's a video game. Oh, look, we got a first aid kit. And he helps her. But he doesn't do a that thing is full. He doesn't even say, hey, you want a bandage or something? Nope. He's like, I got this. Texas Battle spends the rest of the movie still just holding that fucking coat there. It's like,
in that little room, he's just sat there while mayhem's letting loose everywhere. He's kind of like, I've just got to keep, he told me to keep pressure on this. I can't help. But yeah, Texas Battle, I've lost faith in that guy. He doesn't deserve that name.
No, neither parts of him. Neither parts of him.
So we're in a kind of, we're almost, dare I say, which I'm sure you're expecting me to say anyway, we're kind of in an Assault on Precinct 13 kind of vibe.
Yes, but without the excitement.
Well, without it being good, ultimately. That's what we've really said.
This warehouse is fucking huge.
Huge.
And the worst thing that they did is they make everyone these supposedly superior military people. So the guys that the partner has is basically, he's Darth Vader, he is Cobra Commander, his subordinates are absolutely useless. They can't kill or do anything. TJ always in the film and then disappears from the film because I'm assuming he went to film something else. But he's in the film. He leads an assault. He doesn't get shot. And then he's just gone. So he said, you know what? I don't want to be in this film anymore. And he left. But there's a great scene with him. There's these assaults being made. And of course, the ragtag A-team that we have led by Jesse Metcalf are able to easily stop these guys from entering. But we've got TJ standing out in the field. Now, when we see him from the camera, because they get a close-up of him looking at binos, or binoculars, as you like to call them. And as he's looking, as we then turn to see where he's looking, he's in a field. There is a brick wall. He is in no position to have seen anything. So he just says, fuck it. This is the kind of movie we're at. Like, fuck, we don't even fucking care. We're not even going to pretend he's not in an elevated position. We don't care. There's a sniper there. For only reason to be a sniper there is so that he then uses a sniper rifle like a machine gun when he just randomly fires at them to force them back into the building, and then he eventually gets killed easily. This is the best way to describe this movie. It's a poorly designed video game.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
I mean, a couple of the leads die. There's a turn in the middle of the film where we don't see coming. But this is something that myself and Sean O'Connell, name drop, the man who was recently written a book on Mr. Bruce Willis and may or may not join us for episode 20, for the halfway point. We talked about this when he was on my Tarantino podcast about the advent of the cell phone and how the cell phone has caused quite an issue in Hollywood and why a lot of movies that we think about, especially when they're involved in crime, cannot be remade because you now have to, certain scenarios would be ended with the fact that you could text somebody quickly. You know what I mean? You could quickly send out a distress call. They can locate your phone.
Yeah.
So what happens in every single movie now, every single one, is we have a character who must grab their phone and go, there's no fucking signal. They could be in the middle of downtown Manhattan and he goes, I got no fucking signal here. What
Well,
we
not
supposed to do?
not to tangent too much, but much like horror movies, I'm always grateful. There's always a sigh of relief when they go retro with a horror movie and it says it's set in the 80s.
Yes,
you think,
yes,
at least
yes.
we're not going to get that scene that you just alluded
Yes,
to.
they have to. There's always someone going, I got no bars.
Yeah. So that's becoming even.
But bars do come back in those movies right at the end of the third when they need to get out of position.
But I sort of think now technology has got to a point where there being no bars is completely fucking unlikely.
Yes.
But like I say, when I see a horror movie and it says like, I don't know, California, 1989, you think, at least they're not going to do the fucking cell phone bullshit.
Yep.
No, so yeah, I get that completely, and it's a real it's a device that is lazy as a motherfucker, quite frankly, and I hate it.
I know. It'd be better if just someone like threw the fucking.
Or just don't fucking have a phone.
But then again, that's also very unlikely as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just set all your movies in the late 80s.
Yes, all movies set before 2007, because that was the dawn of the smartphone.
True.
And the cell towers had to go higher. So as long as you're early, you're good to go. You're good to go, you cocksuckers.
Come on.
But Bruce does show off a bit of his acting when they lead him up to some roof. Like, the whole point of this is Bruce's daughter makes this AI that apparently is going to save the world. They never really say how, because she wants to field test it. And her field test is by bringing down a fucking commercial jet. I'm not sure what field test she's doing that is saving the world. She literally brings down an airline so that it crashes and everyone dies. And then the partner, some of the lines the partner has is basically kind of like what Tyler Durden has from like Fight Club.
Yeah.
It's literally the whole thing of like why they end up blowing up those buildings in Fight Club is to get rid of the credit bureaus and everyone's back to zero and everyone's back on a level playing field and it fucks the rich over.
Yeah.
So that's basically what he's going to do. But yet she was all on board and then she feels bad. So we don't know what this field test is all about because it looks like she's evil. The only person who can now give them the proper code to run this, like, besides a field test, like I said, none of this makes sense. So I apologize, people. I'm really dancing in my brain right now to even make this sound any bit of logical when it comes out of my mouth.
Yeah, but as you said, like, Bruce Willis is pretty good in this, and I think we've got to be fair in situations like this where you can say someone sucks, you can say all this and that, but look, if the actor himself isn't given much,
this is true.
That's not fair, really, to say.
Oh no, I think Bruce was really good in this.
I know, but. And look, just because you see Bruce Willis from behind, it doesn't necessarily mean it wasn't him. Okay?
That's my note. They did a great job in that fight scene.
Yes.
Of finally fucking blocking so you don't really, it's so fast, don't know.
This is where I was headed. That's where I was headed. The character may suck because the character isn't given much to say or do, but that's not necessarily the fault of the actor. So to say Bruce Willis got nominated for a Razzie for this is utter fucking bullshit, really. Okay? He doesn't do bad in this. He may have said stupid shit or, you may have found the film to be terrible, but given what he was given to do, I think he did it very adequately. I think he's fine with this. So,
as we both
I just
discussed,
get a little
he probably deserved the Razzie for...
But this film, I'm not saying this film doesn't deserve a Razzie for...
Trauma Center. That's what you think is his
Maybe. Yes, I would actually agree with that. But yeah, I just get a little bit when I've been reading, doing the research I can do on these movies because there's a lot is known. But
some there's a ton, and then some it's like
there's nothing. We're talking crickets, aren't we? There's nothing. There's nothing there.
It's as if this film was made to hide sex trafficking money.
Mate, well, no, you're just so cynical. Yeah, so I just sort of think, look, I'm sure there are movies where there's clear. May not have got there completely yet, but I'm sure there are movies where you're like, there's no way that's fucking Bruce Willis. That's just a bald guy. But in some of these movies, I think they do a pretty good job. So
this one was one of them. The clock
I think that's
fight.
I think that's just too easy a criticism to level at the movies, you know. So in this one, I'm you know, when I saw Bruce Willis in the stretched caddy at the beginning, I did think, is this the only scene he's going to be in? I was scared.
I thought when, like I said, the sniper's got him dead to rights.
Yeah,
And I thought,
was quite
he's going to die
scared.
right now. Like, this is going to be...
Yeah, I was scared when I saw the Cadillac scene, because I thought, if this is the only scene he's in, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this. This was going to be a real test.
But wouldn't the movie have been a little bit better if they had been sniped in that one scene, and then the next thing is like all of a sudden they're just bum rushing into this building and they have to like survive wave after wave? That'd have been more exciting than what we got.
Perhaps, but I'm glad we got more of him. I always am. I'm always glad we get more.
Well, I'll get to my very last note in a minute, because he does do something good. There's something I do enjoy that got my level of rating up a little bit higher.
Yeah,
but
I could have gone much lower.
A Scandry. 2 movies in, bullets in the leg. I was certain in this movie, someone in the team is getting shot in the leg. No. So now he's got a new theme he went with. Well, he rejoined it after the first one. He fucking loves hide and seek. He loves hide and fucking seek. Ladies or gents, whichever Scandry's into, if you're going to hang out with this man, you're going to have a relationship, you're going to play hide and seek with this cocksucker. I have no doubt in my mind how he decides who his next love interest is their level of being able to play hide and fucking seek with him, because once again, that's what this movie is. It's hide and seek. There is no tactical anything. For the partner being such a cool bad guy and really good bad guy, like he really is on the level. Again, I don't want to say he's Alan Rickman, because he's not Alan Rickman, but in the B movie sense, he's the B movie Alan Rickman. I mean, that's the best way to describe it. He's B movie Alan Rickman, and he's really good. Like, he is really good. He, like, everything he does feels very earned, very sincere, and appropriate for the character. It doesn't feel like he's like losing his mind at one point for no reason. He's got moments of calm. He knows when it's time to spike up. The only problem is they wrote this movie where he's got basically the stormtroopers and the Cobra soldiers from G.I. Joe, who all they do is shoot at things, never get hit, and always get killed in vast, quick numbers.
Yeah,
they die so quickly. Like, they just walk into bullets. Like, honestly, they just literally go, what's going on here? Bang, bang, bang.
Walk around a corner, dead.
Meanwhile, fucking Jesse's hiding behind a fucking tinderbox table, and the bullets can't get through it. He's safe. I mean, it doesn't even splinter. Of all the shit they had in that warehouse, they couldn't have found something else for him to hide behind to make it at least look realistic.
Everyone
else is like behind a pillar, like a concrete pillar. He's behind a wooden card table that you can put your grandma through. I mean, Jesus Christ.
And you've got like some black ops military team with bullets just cannot penetrate a fucking office desk.
Can I penetrate this IKEA particle wood? That's fucking the table. Jesus Christ.
You can't argue with that.
Oh my God. And then, did you notice, this month, John Cusack Award goes to the Asian tech woman, played by Jackie Nguyen, who suddenly appears out of thin fucking air in the last third of the film, as if we should have known who she was the whole time. She just suddenly shows up, and I'm like, who the fuck's this lady? And the partner's talking to her, like they've been there the whole time together. So maybe there was an editing choice where she got cut out, but all of a sudden, she was just there.
They saved the best for last.
She just became like, it'd be like we went through Die Hard, and all of a sudden, in the last third, we've realized that someone at the party is John McClane's wife, that we had no clue he had a wife. You know what I mean? Like, he just, also like, oh, hey, Bonnie's my wife. Like, who? She's your wife? Where'd she come from? That's exactly what happened. Insane.
Yeah, it's just stuff coming at you from all directions, really, and that's all a bit bizarre. It's all very strange. But, some of the action, at least there's a bit of blood and guts in the action.
Yeah, there is some. Yeah, they do a couple of knives to the throat and stuff like that. That was kind of cool. Yeah.
There's a few bits and bobs going on there, which kept it, at least sort of made it slightly more interesting than what we normally get, which is kind of TV level violence, I suppose.
This could have been a Precious Cargo, because similar violence, right? Like a lot of shooting and stuff happening that didn't really mean anything. With the 360 boat, the 360 boat turn with the shotgun fire to kill somebody. Like, they're playing with a level of stupidity that was fun, because obviously we have Mr. Bernhardt as well. But this is just missing that level of fun in it. It didn't have to be like corny, but it could have just leaned into being fun, like saying like, we know they're B movies. And I know you always say, and you're probably right, they're always worried about making sure they make it to certain markets. But the markets that I find out and end up watching these are usually Asian markets. Asians love blood and guts. Give them the blood and fucking guts.
This is it.
You know, like go for it. Like fucking, like just watch an Asian action film, and it may be melodramatic and may not land in all the right places over here, but the violence is fucking phenomenal. You get past some of the moody, teary-eyed, stuff that happens.
There's always a lot of that.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But when the guy's crying because his buddy's balls just got blown off in glorious 4D, you know what I mean? Like his nutsack is exploding in slow-mo. You're kind of like, fuck yeah, that was awesome. This is what this film and these movies are missing. It's that, fuck, you're a B movie. Fucking lean into it. Embrace it. Precious Cargo embraced it.
I think
just
they're
embrace it.
Yeah, I think they're just too scared that that's going to put a streaming service off, because that's the only way they're getting any money out of this. So I can only.
I guess, but
then
Asia's a
that's not
big
fair
fucking
to say,
continent,
is
my
it?
man.
Well,
I
no,
mean, fuck it.
yeah,
Asia's
no.
a big continent.
Yeah, well, no, I was going to say, but you get your fair share of that shit in Netflix's own movies and stuff.
Yeah.
So
You're going to get these. I mean, people in America are going to watch it. You're not putting them in the theater anyways. So you'll find a fucking service that will put it on there. Maybe it won't be on HBO Max and Hulu, but Netflix will find it on there. Somebody's going to put it on something, and you'll get a chance to watch this shit. But they don't do that. The saving grace for the film, saving grace, and it's a spoiler alert, sorry. Well, not really a spoiler. It's kind of a spoiler. But Bruce kills our partner. Our glorious villain is killed by Bruce. He shoots him in the back, which, hats off to them. At least that part of the writing. Jesse's character was shot in the back by this guy and almost killed. And how better for this guy to die? Little, hey.
Yeah, little,
Bada bing on your asshole. He gets shot from behind, and it's Bruce who does it, and that's probably the scene.
Yeah, a little wink,
some people.
there, a little, good little nod there, a little callback.
Once again, he did it for us in, was it The Reprisal? Is that the one we started with Frank Grillo? Where he got better as the day went on. He does the shotgun stairwell thing. Yep.
Yeah, that was good to see. That's
killing.
That's the Bruce we love. He gets stuck in there and he sort of one way or another saves the day. Boom.
I loved it. Now, here's my spoiler alert. Bruce, so far, halfway through this season, has survived to the end in all 6 films. He has not been killed yet. He has survived to the end in all 6 films. No matter how ridiculous they may be, Bruce makes it to the closing credits 6 times already. So all we know is he's at least alive half the time for season 2. He was killed in 6 of them last year.
Yeah.
2 of them are we don't know, mysterious. We don't know. He might have died. He might have come back. We don't know.
Maybe they're hoping for sequels.
Well, we've got some coming that I know we're going to have. We got a trilogy. We got a sequels. We got a couple of movies coming down the pipeline, but we have finally reached the end of the Escandri Mentally Challenged Express ride for the summer of 2024. And I think the only way, do you have any other closing thoughts before we jump into our final awards, supposedly, and then our moments of truth?
Not really. I think, all the reviews I read, they were pretty fair. This doesn't really work. It does that thing where it needn't be so complicated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think that's a disservice to it, that you've got too carried away. It's a pretty simple and kick-ass premise. The good guys are on the inside, the bad guys are on the outside. You should have made it about that. Fair enough, they've got to get the MacGuffin. I get that. That's not a problem. But like I mentioned, you've got Rio Bravo, you've got Assault on Precinct 13, you've got all these movies that do that. This is not a new...
No.
This is not a new thing.
All that stuff, yeah.
But it's been done well many times, so you don't need to fuck with it. You could have just done
blueprint.
That.
Do your own.
This is it. So, really, it's only like that. My only thoughts, really, other than what we've discussed already, are that, it was all there. It was all there for you. And I dare I say, would have made for a more enjoyable movie had you simplified it.
Yeah.
But by trying to kind of, weave in all these other things, you kind of done a disservice to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
They can't fucking help themselves, these guys.
They can't.
That's why. I don't think, for the most part, I don't think it's ineptly made. I just feel like they just can't help themselves, but try and, they're out of their depth, And
the thing that's striking about that, like the thing that makes it almost inconceivable that these movies, the way they get made or the way they're made, is we live in a time for quite some time now where there's a thing called YouTubes, all right? You got the YouTubes over here, all right? All you got to do some homework before you make a movie. Watch some scenes and go, oh, these are how the greats are doing it. That's what I'm going to do. That's literally how many of the filmmakers from the 90s kind of did it. Well, they watched the old films on VHS. They saw what they did, and they emulated them when they started to make their movies. They said, oh my God, I love that scene. I would like to use the framing and how they did it for my scene. It's not going to be the same scene, but I'm going to do it like this. It's very hard to do anything new under the sun these days. Everything's been done. Thousands of movies are made.
Absolutely.
So anyone go, oh, this is brand new. Well, maybe it's a twist. But for the most part, everyone's doing something that they've seen before. And it's okay. But sometimes you go into these movies, you go, like they said, like it's like student films. Like they've never done anything before. You're right. They had a really good premise. They could have done something with this, but it became a game of hide and seek with very low stakes. And we didn't care about any of the characters at all. Like there's honestly, except for the partner, he's the only one I cared about. He's the only one I cared about. He was the only one who felt like a fully fleshed out character who was in the real world. Everyone else was just like, hey, you're going to get killed. You're going to get killed. And that's basically how we're going to do this. And at the end, you go, oh, it's going to be Jesse. It's going to be the partner. We're going to have a final fight. Bada bing, bada boom. Lo and behold, they did a little nice twist at the end where Bruce is the one who gets the final kill. And we all go home, sucking each other's dicks, and everyone's happy.
Yeah, it's a pretty kind of cut and dry by the end. And you're just like...
But of the Iskandri films, I would probably... put this just barely ahead of Survive the Night. Obviously, what's it called is the bottom. Trauma Center gives you trauma.
Yeah.
You do have to survive the night into the day because that goes a little bit longer. That wasn't terrible. Wasn't great. Here's the funny thing. Both those films hurt themselves because they had less characters and they couldn't kill off a lot of people. This film had plenty of people to kill off, but they did it such a poor rate. You're like, I really didn't really care anymore. The two things we complained about for 2 episodes, they finally have more guys and they still blow the opportunity.
Yeah, see, this is
like,
it.
you cocksucker.
That's the problem. But here we are, you know.
Here we are. We made it. We made it through the summer of Iskandri, halfway through season 2. We got 2 back-to-back sci-fi movies I'm very excited about.
I'm very excited.
And I'm going to talk to Steve off mic about this after we're done recording, because the man who's coming on for episode 20, he's seen them all already, and he's giving me a couple insiders that we have a few that we might just enjoy. That are still to come.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited for our guest because he's a great guy. So, you know, we've spoken before. Yeah. So I'm really excited to have him on, because we didn't really get enough time to. I mean, I know you have, but I haven't. So
but I've talked to him more about Tarantino than we kind of talked about.
Yeah, but I haven't really had the chance to sort of chew the fat with him about anything. So I'm really looking very excited about that.
Me as well.
How much is enough? You're out here putting your life on the line. Your team's lives on the line. And for what? Money? More money. You are sheep. You're slaves to a machine. You're slaves to those who run it all for their mass profits, while you cling to the pennies that fall from their pockets. I'm gonna make you an offer, Miller. Just put your weapons down and fight with me. You can have a seat at the table and fight for something that actually matters.
Favorite scene.
Favorite scene. Now, I wasn't sure what mine was going to be, but then it happened towards the end of the movie, and I really enjoyed it. I don't normally enjoy a scene of exposition. I mean, I do, but it depends. Sometimes like, all right, we get it. But for me, the partner explaining to Donovan and his daughter, played by Bruce and Miss Kent, that his nickname comes from the Canterbury Tales and where he got it from and the whole story. I kind of like that. He did a great delivery of that. And I was kind of like, you know what? He did a good villain monologue. And it was just about his name. He kind of already did his little why we're doing this speech to her earlier because she was kind of in on it. You know, the first scene like she was going to be a part of it. Because after a while, I was like, how the fuck is he called the partner? I'll be honest, I was like, he's a great guy, great character, but his fucking name. It's like, fuck you and your name. And then he tells it, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I was like, okay, all right, I'm in. I like it. It made sense. You know, I had to tip my hat to those cocksuckers. But I think it was more Mr. Sergio Rizzuto over here who fucking sold it. So that's my favorite scene. Mr. Smith, what was yours?
Well, to echo yourself, yeah, I think for me, I think the fight at the end, Jesse Metcalf and Sergio Rizzuto, culminating in Bruce Willis shooting the fuck in the back was great. But really, just to see, I think there's a few segments of the film where Jesse Metcalf gets into fisticuffs with people, and I was like, yeah, he can pull it off. I'm buying this. So at the end, when you get him fighting the pardoner, Sergio Rizzuto, I was like, I think the film needed that. So for me, that was like the most, dare I say, euphoric sort of scene in the movie. Because, you know, the various shootouts and things like that were kind of by the numbers, you know, although there was unfortunately a bit more blood and guts. I'll say blood more than guts. But yeah, just that kind of, you finally got to see what you paid for. You know, you got to see a good fucking punch up between the good guy and the bad guy. So, yeah. So sort of the same scene. Because it was about the same time.
To each other. Yep.
Yeah, but mine was the kind of fisticuffs at the end.
Best one-liner.
All right, best one-liner. You know, this actually had I don't know if you had the same one, but had a real good one once again from the partner. And at the time, the good guy sinks their stakes in this, but in the moment when you know he's not going to really do what he's saying he's going to do because she might be in on the whole thing. It's kind of a ruse that just we get like M. Night Shyamalan twist throughout the movie that don't work. But he says 7 pounds. That's the amount of pressure required to pull the trigger. And then just like that, it's all over. And it's the delivery, because once again, like you say, you can write a cool line. If it's not delivered well, if it's delivered like a high squeaky voice with a lisp, 7 pounds. That's the amount of pressure required to pull the trigger. And then just like that, it's over.
It's all it takes.
It's all it takes. She's kind of like, it worked for me, champ. I'm not all that scared. You pull the trigger. Let's see if you can
I didn't know
pull
Jerry Lewis was in this movie.
Lady.
Guys.
Over here.
Enough of that.
But yeah, for me, that was the one. And how about for you, sir?
Well, not to cop out too much, but literally everything the pardoner says.
It is pretty good. It really is. Even his description of why he's going to do what he's going to do.
Like the Canterbury Tales thing was great. But just, he's...
the only realized character they wrote.
Yeah, that's like... oh, God, I can't believe I'm going to say this and you're going to be looking at me like, you piece of shit. But it's kind of like when Tarantino writes his villains so well. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that the difference is...
No, the partner is definitely well written.
No, but the difference is Tarantino writes everyone so well, but he writes he's got such relish with his villains. Whereas with this movie, they wrote the villain well, but they forgot about everyone.
Everyone else just... The movie should have been called The Partners, what it should have been called.
We ran out of ink for you guys. But so it's that kind of thing where the villain is so well developed and realized, but they unfortunately forgot about everyone else. So, but literally everything the pardoner stroke Sergio Rizzuto says is just sublime, and he's such a sort of, such a maniac. But there is, then you not think that we didn't really address this, that at points you're like, who is the bad guy really then?
There is a bit of a shade where maybe Bruce is the bad guy.
Yeah.
But once the daughter says, "Oh, I did a test thing," and they bring a plane down, you go, "I'm pretty sure Bruce is the good." Like, no matter what Bruce is going to do, they like steal some money from an orphanage. You're like, you brought a plane down.
Yeah, but throughout the film, there are these moments where you're like, "Well, hang on a minute, I'm not sure this is the bad guy, really."
Don't get me wrong. The partner makes compelling.
Well, that's the conflicting thing about how well written he is, because you're like, actually, I fucking like this guy.
Yeah,
anyway, everything the pardoner stroke Sergio Rizzuto says is fucking sublime. So I haven't got a line. I just think everything he says is great.
Yeah, he's probably the best written character. They give him the juicy stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Best performance.
And our best performance, I think this is going to be a fucking landslide at the moment, but I'm going with the guinea for the winnie, Mr. Sergio Rizzuto over here as the partner. This guy listen, we weren't sure what we were going to have for the Bruceys, but right now, it's going to take a gargantuan something, because technically so he'll win best supporting actor, but he's got a Daniel Bernhardt streak in him. I'm actually excited to see if he's going to make it to another film. I don't know if he is or not. I don't know if he'll get the same kind of stuff, but he really impressed me in this role. And I feel bad for guys like this who pull off a good role in a shitty movie. It's not his fault the rest of the movie sucked, but he gave it all. He should be given a shot in something else because he was a very realistic and believable bad guy. Very realistic and believable bad guy. Was really good. And so definitely shows that he could be a good character actor. But unfortunately, the fucking EFO cocksuckers have probably doomed him to the fucking STD films of the world. And what are you going to do? What are you going to do over here? But hey, listen here, Ganny for the winning. Sergio Rizzuto, you get my vote for best performance. And I'm pretty sure I'm about to hear a fucking parrot echo me. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question really. Because although I will say this, he gets more animated and more vocal later in the film, that's fair to say. So at first, I thought Jesse Metcalf, you know. I like this guy.
Jesse Metcalf will definitely get nominated for best non-Bruce Willis.
Yeah, I was like,
he
was
believable.
You know, he looks like he'd kick ass, and you know, and he's.
We'll get a good chance when we see him 2 more times in that sequel thing. We'll see if he's. You know, was it a one and done, or is he really?
So initially, I was like, oh, no question, it's going to be Jesse Metcalf. You know, his character. But then, you know, the pardoner comes in and he goes all out, and I was like, well, fucking, there's no question. So yeah. To echo you, sir, he's my guy.
Favorite character.
All right, I think we're about to have a fucking 4-way sweep, but I could be wrong. Favorite character is the Asian woman. It's a twist. She came out of nowhere. She showed up. She did her thing. She was out. What a great job by Ms. Nguyen. No, it's the partner. And again, I know it's a Bruce Willis podcast. He was good. I don't want to say he's not because I really enjoyed Bruce. Bruce, you know, we've watched a couple of these movies. You know, and there's movies now. We're definitely in the throes of aphasia. We're in the throes of, okay, this is starting to peek through. We're starting to get to some moments where, we could be in trouble. But he was great. But the partner was the best character. What a well-designed character. You know, there's been some characters along the way here that we could, if you pull them out and put them in one movie, you might have actually one good movie. You might get a fully thought out film. But as far as favorite character for me, it's the partner, Mr. Smith. Why do you also think that Miss Gwen is one of the
I do. No, he's just great. He was just so good, you know. I'd never seen this guy before, and he just delivered. He was just, you know, you talk about best actor, best character. I think guys like this, you know, like you said earlier, it's a shame they start her in pieces of shit like this because that's easy to write these guys off. I mean, that's sort of like, oh, he was in some Bruce Willis STD, you know, trademark. Dropping a Bruce. You know, so it is a shame, you're right, you know, but I think anyone who watches this movie is going to think this guy's it's worth watching for this guy. The actor or the character, you know, so, you know, there's no question he's the guy. So, yeah, as you were right, you know, he's the one. He's definitely the one.
How about this? If he's never as good as he is in this movie, I don't want to see him ever again because at least I have this as a lasting impression of Sergio Rizzuto, the winning for the Guinea over. It's time for our moment of fucking truth.
The moment of truth.
First up, did Mr. Willis drop a deuce or a Bruce? And once again, I know we're 18 in. If you've been on this journey as long as we have, we appreciate it. If you pop in and out, we appreciate it no matter what. So a lot of our decisions come from now 18 films in a row that we've watched. So we've watched it all the way through, not just like, hey, watch Die Hard 1 through 3, and then all of a sudden I jumped in this one and go, whoa, what's this piece of shit? So we have a different approach and, you know, view of what we've seen. But I actually think Bruce was really good in this film. And for what he's in, all right, never when we say is it a Bruce, for the most part, especially since season 1, where he's actually had a couple of roles where we thought those are definitely big screen worthy of, you know, those movies should have played in the theater. We know that these movies are probably not going to even reach that level even close. So that being said, his level of acting, how is he in comparison to the rest of the people? Does he look like he showed up and actually fucking tried? Or does he look like he's just being held up by a fucking double? And for this one, I definitely think he was back in his game. As far as these B movies, I thought he was present. I thought he was good. He had some good lines. He really looked like he knew what he was doing. He actually gave some emotion. Like there was a scene, he's like, you know, he's worried about his daughter going to die. I think Bruce got a little teary-eyed. Like he actually tried a little bit in here. Gets to kill the villain at the end. So for me, I give Bruce a Bruce for this movie.
He most definitely dropped a Bruce.
Mr. Smith.
Yes, I concur. I mean, like I said, at the beginning, I was worried. I just got that vibe that this was the only scene he was going to be in.
Or we wouldn't see him for like till the end. Like he's sitting down most of it, sitting down in the car.
It just, at the end, it just show up again in his Cadillac and be like, good job, boys. But yeah, then it comes a little, I know he's locked up in that room for a while where they're trying to keep him safe. But then, as you pointed out, he sort of comes through and ends up being the unlikely hero, which is something we haven't seen him be in a long time. The unlikely hero. We always know he's going to kick ass if he's the lead, But in this one, so it kind of ended up being a bit of a surprise. And I think he gets enough to do. And like you say, he showed some emotion when it was needed. And he gets the rah-rah moment at the end where he kills the bad guy by shooting him in the fucking back. So definitely Bruce dropped a Bruce.
He most definitely dropped a Bruce.
All right, so now we come to the final conclusion. Is this movie a Bruce or a Deuce? For the first two films on the Scandry Express of Summer, they have both been deuces. And I will admit, this is a better film than the first two, for sure. I will admit, I enjoyed the shit out of Sergio Rizzuto as the partner. And I think Bruce did a great job. But those are just little pieces of what make a total film. I, on the other hand, think this film is a deuce. It was trying, but trying doesn't mean you give it the gold medal, right? You either finish across the line, you win the medal, or you finish fourth, and congratulations. I mean, you did better than I could do in the Olympics, but still, you didn't bring home the gold, all right? I mean, let's be honest. So I don't think this movie is anything. The only thing I'll remember will be the partner and this guy and wishing that he had gotten to be the same character in a movie that mattered. But that alone, everything else is just, there are no stakes at all. There are no stakes. There's nothing you're ever worried about. Then when certain characters do die or suddenly make these bullshit turns, and you're just kind of like, I really don't fucking care. And that's not good for a movie. So for me, this movie is a deuce.
This film most definitely dropped a Deuce.
A 3 for well done, Mr. Scandry, at least on my scorecard. Tree up and tree down in the Deuce category. But Mr. Smith, are you going to give it a nice, polite wink and give it the gold star? Or is this going to be a triple for you as well?
Yeah, unfortunately, I try to be kind when I can, but this is a deuce. Though I will say, you could do worse than watching this movie.
This doesn't do what Precious Cargo did to pull it into that category.
Yeah, I mean, it's really, like you say, it's great, the partner just isn't enough, but if you're at a loose end, you could do worse. It's formulaic. It doesn't do anything to elevate it. Yet it's not inept. It's just a shitty movie, really. It's just a pretty shitty movie. But I think what helps it is it does sort of take place over a short period of time. So it's got a pace to it that you can get with. It's like it takes place over a couple of days, I guess. Yeah, you'll never watch it more than once. If this was, I don't know if you have these in the States, but there's places you can pick up really cheap fucking DVDs and Blu-rays for like $1 or £1 or £2. It's not worth that, is what I'm saying. No. So it's got to be a deuce.
This film most definitely dropped a Deuce.
We could have had an Arrow box set with the bullet in the leg.
I know you're still pulling for it. I don't think it's going to happen, man. I know you keep mentioning that.
He's got one more movie. So in the fourth film, when we eventually get to that season 2, it'll either be we're hoping someone's going to get shot in the leg, or
so,
playing
like I say, it's not even worth it.
Two of his movies have one of those things.
You know what? If you really search and scan and the streaming channels and there's fuck all left, and you're a Bruce Willis fan, you could do worse, but in the grand scheme of things, it's a deuce.
All right, we are now halfway through season 2. We will be coming up on 6 more films to finish out the season, but also we're closing in on the midpoint. So coming up for us in the second half of this season, we start with 2 back-to-back sci-fi movies. Breach and Cosmic Sin. Cosmic Sin will be number 20 for us. That will have our special guest. We will then move into Out of Death, Midnight in the Switchgrass, which has Mr. Emmett directing. Roland fuckface farts when he humps. Emmett is going to direct Midnight in the Switchgrass. We then have Survive the Game, and we will close out season 2 with the third sci-fi movie, Apex. So Hang in there, folks. We got 22 more to go, 6 more from this season. We'll all survive. This is therapy for all of us. And that will do it for our 18th episode. Please feel free to reach out to us on the show's socials, which can be found in the show notes, and tell us what you thought about this film, how you feel about Bruce as an actor, or even to let us know what you think about the podcast. We'd also greatly appreciate it if you give the show a like, leave us a review, and follow the show on the Last of the Action Heroes Podcast Network, where you can find other amazing podcasts dedicated to such iconic action stars as Stallone, Lundgren, Van Damme, Schwarzenegger, and Seagal. The link to the network can also be found in our show's notes. So won't you please join us again next month as Steve and I pull our Willis Winnebago over to review Bruce's role in 2020's sci-fi action horror film, Breach, to see if he dropped a deuce or if he dropped a Bruce. Until then,
Yippee Ki-Yay, motherfucker.
This has been a Man with an Exceptional Beard production.